itself. So for this screening, it's $10, but all the money collected from this is going towards sending pacemakers to Cuba. So why is there a need to send pacemakers to Cuba? And a lot of this is because Cuba does not have the productive capacities to make medical equipment such as pacemakers, which are essential devices that can mean life or death for some people. And the reason Cuba doesn't have these productive capacities is because it has an economic stranglehold, as Rosemary alluded to, placed on it by the U.S. And we recently had a briefing with the foreign minister of Cuba, and he highlighted kind of three major ways that the U.S. has placed this economic stranglehold, or is aiding and abetting in this economic stranglehold against Cuba. First is the blockade or the embargo that has existed since 1959. The second is the state-sponsored terrorism list that just prevents Cuba from developing or via collaboration with other countries, corporations in other countries. He gave the example of trying to acquire airplanes for a French Italian company, and they pulled out of the deal because they didn't want to feel the repercussions of dealing with Cuba because it was a state-sponsored terrorist. And then the third is that, when countries go through revolution towards socialism, it doesn't necessarily mean that the private sector completely vanishes. There is a private sector in Cuba, and part of Cuba continuing on its existence as a socialist state is being able to battle that internal conflict between the private sector and the desire to maintain a socialist state. And the U.S. has been very active in encouraging the growth of that private sector. The U.S. loves to meddle in other people's politics. So in terms of solutions to this, he proposed three things. First is ending this blockade. And so it's very important to continue on all the work and advocating for the end of this blockade. The second is getting off this state-sanctioned terrorist list. And just in the way that we advocate for the end of the blockade, we have to advocate for the end of, or removing Cuba from that list. And then the third is Cuba seeking relations with international partners. So it's important that as we acknowledge all the wonderful things Cuba has done in solidarity with Black people globally, we have to come together in this moment to materially support Cuba in concrete ways, just like this. And we'll have a number of other programming that will also be going towards funding sending these pacemakers to Cuba. So